Have you ever wondered how some women effortlessly are able to attract quality relationships, whereas some women always tend to end up in the same disappointing relationships? Today I've got something to share with you. It's got nothing to do with their looks, their age, or their status. None of them things really matter when it comes to dating, especially as a high value woman. It's all about your habits. But not just any dating habits. It's a specific dating habit that high value women have mastered. So before we dive in, what I want to do is share a quick story with you. I received a call a couple of weeks ago of a friend who had had enough. She had had so many relationships with emotionally unavailable men, and she just had enough. And we all know them men. And since implementing what I'm about to share with you, she's had the best relationship of her life, and she's so happy. And the best part is she didn't have to change who she is. All that she done was change her habits. So before we move on, let me introduce myself for all those who are new to this channel. I am Naomi Robinson, and this channel is called The Dive of Naomi. And what I do here is teach women that their presence is their power. So make sure you subscribe to this channel and share this video with other ladies who are trying to grow in their feminine energy. So let's move on. I remember the moment that this clicked for me, and I'm not dating at the moment. So I know some people would be like, has she got a man? And if she hasn't got a man, why is she giving this advice? I'm not dating because I've chosen not to date. I am in a place of just growing and growing. Whilst I'm teaching, I'm still growing. I learn so many new things every single day. So yeah, I'm not in a relationship, but it's more out of choice. I'm on a personal growth journey right now. So yeah, just in case anybody was wondering. So let's move on. I remember the first moment that this clicked for me. I remember I was in Ghana and I was on a date with a businessman, and this man would not stop looking at his phone. He was texting, he was voice noting, and I was just like, are you being serious? You're on a date with me and you're more interested in your phone? No, this ain't gonna work. And in the past, I probably would have ignored it because, when you're still going for that journey of building confidence and stuff, you don't want to seem like you're a nag. I didn't want to seem like I'm being difficult. But after all this growth that I've done, I couldn't hold back. I had to say something. And what I said to him was, I prefer to give and receive undivided attention during dates. Would you mind putting your phone away? You know what his response was? He apologised. I feel like sometimes people don't even realise they're doing it. They're so used to just doing what they've got to do and no one ever correcting them or acknowledging that what they're doing is rude. And he put his phone away, and you know what he did? Later on during the day, he actually says how my directness was refreshing, because sometimes it's just about setting boundaries. Sometimes you have to set boundaries with people and they won't find it offensive. They will actually see that you respect yourself. And high value women set boundaries in 3 key areas. Number 1, time boundaries, how and when you're available. Number 2, emotional boundaries, what you will and won't tolerate. And number 3, physical boundaries, moving at your own comfortable pace. So here's your first action step. Write down your non-negotiables. And when I say that, not what you think there should be, but what truly matters to you. And this isn't about being rigid, it's about being clear. So let's talk about self-worth and confidence. So firstly, something that transforms everything, self-worth. You know what's fascinating? High value women don't derive their worth from things like relationship status, their partner's opinion, or the number of matches that they get online, or the number of likes they get online. Instead, they understand something crucial. And what it is that they understand is that confidence isn't about knowing that everyone will like you. It's knowing that everybody won't and being okay with it. And let me tell you a little story about myself. I remember when I was dating, and this was many years ago, and if I didn't hear from someone that I was dating in a few hours, I'd go into panic mode. I'd start thinking, what's wrong with me? They don't like me anymore. They've moved on. I'm never going to hear from them again. What the hell did I do wrong? I used to literally self-sabotage. There was no reason to, because more than likely they were just busy. But what the problem was, I wasn't busy enough. But now I'm so fulfilled in what I'm doing. Sometimes I've dated people recently and they've messaged me and I've looked at my phone and I'm like, I'm going to message them back in a minute. And like hours have passed and I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't messaged them back yet because my life is so full right now. So I don't sit around just looking at my phone or wondering. I don't have the time to. And you know what the ironic thing is? I've never had so much quality men pursue me since I've kind of changed the way I go about things. I meet men now who respect my independence, they respect my space, and that's how you want it to be. So now let's move on to talking about communication and authenticity. And one thing I want to say is that I'm not a relationship coach. However, since I've started looking more into feminine energy and understanding feminine refinement and how it can help us in our everyday lives, I believe that this is part of it as well, dating, and it all goes hand in hand. So if we are in our feminine, then we will naturally do these things. It's about accepting and practicing our feminine attributes, and a lot of this stuff will come naturally. So let's move on. So this is where a lot of dating advice goes wrong. They tell you to play hard to get, don't ring back for 3 hours, act mysterious. But high value women don't do that. They don't need to, because they know that authenticity is magnetic. So let's break down what authentic communication looks like. Expressing feelings without accusations, being clear about intentions, and showing vulnerability with boundaries. Those are all ways to communicate in a way that shows authenticity without playing mind games and tricks and all that sort of stuff. So instead of saying, you never make time for me, a high value woman might put it in a way like, spending quality time with you means a lot to me, and I'd love to create more of that with you. How do you feel about that? Do you see the difference in regards to saying, oh, you never spend time with me, you know, I've been calling you, I've been asking you, you're just not doing anything about it, or moaning or nagging? Communicate how you feel in a high value way and you'll get results. So let's move on to independence and self-sufficiency. So now what I want to do is address a myth, and that myth is that independent women are alone or are doomed to be alone, because that's not true. High value women understand that being independent isn't about not needing anyone. It's about choosing to share your life rather than filling in a void. So here are some signs that you're dating from a place of independence. You have your own passions and pursuits. You're comfortable with alone time. You don't abandon your friends when you're in a relationship, and you maintain financial independence. And when I was in a relationship a few years ago, and I did become kind of codependent, and I became very dependent on this man. And it wasn't because that's what I wanted. It was something that he kind of pushed for it without me realising what he was doing. It was a means of control for him. And after I had a mentor that I used to talk to, it wasn't an official mentor, but somebody that I'd call a mentor. I remember one of the things that the mentor says to me that stood out, and it was that the most attractive thing is a life that you've built for yourself, not your ability to fit into somebody else's. And that really hit me differently, because I feel like I'm the eldest child, so I feel like being the eldest child and also being a woman, I'm always the one who's looked out for other people, and no one really looked out for me. So I got to a point in my life where I felt like I just wanted to be looked after. And when he offered it, I accepted it. And I saw it as a part in my life where I could just kick back for a bit and just be looked after, not knowing that this man was purposely making me like codependent, purposely, because he wanted control over me. And when my mentor says that to me, I thought, oh my gosh, like that makes so much sense. And now I realise it is about the life that you build for yourself. There's nothing more high value than building the life of your dream for you, by you. So now let's talk about empathy and understanding. This might surprise you, but the most powerful tool in a high value woman's dating arsenal isn't her looks or her achievements. It's her emotional intelligence. High value women master the art of reading emotional cues, understanding different perspectives, responding rather than reacting, and creating emotional safety. During one of our coaching sessions, one of my clients shared how she dealt with a potential conflict. Her date had expressed that And this is so funny, but her dating expressed that he felt insecure about her career. So what she did, which I felt was really good, was instead of dismissing his feelings or getting defensive, she thanked him for his honesty, which is very mature of her to do that, because a lot of people wouldn't. A lot of people would have just jumped to the defensive and explained why she's this career-driven woman. That's what a lot of us would have done, which you don't have to. You don't have to kind of explain to anybody. But the fact that he actually brought that to her, she acknowledged it, and she thanked him for his honesty. And after him expressing that and her responding in that way, it opened dialogue for them to discuss how they can support each other's growth. And that's what you call emotional intelligence. So let me share some practical habits that you can start implementing today. The 24-hour rule. So the first one is wait 24 hours before saying yes to a date. This gives you time to check in with yourself and your boundaries. Number 2, the 3-circle method. Maintain 3 circles in your life: personal growth activities, friendships and families, and dating. And never let dating overshadow the other 2. So now let's move on to the mirror technique. Before you go on a date, look at yourself in the mirror and name 3 things that you love about yourself that has nothing to do with your appearance. So now let's talk about red and green flags. High-value women pay attention to both red and green flags, and here's what they look for. So green flags will be things like consistent communication, respect boundaries, actions that match their words, and someone that shows genuine interest in your life. These are all green flags. I met this guy a couple of weeks ago, and he messaged me one day. I messaged him back. He didn't message again for about 3 days, so he didn't respond to my last message. And then he messaged me. He messaged me back 3 days later, and then after I responded to him, he didn't respond back. That is a red flag, and he won't be hearing from me again because it shouldn't take that long for someone to message you back. 3 days, 4 days, no one's that busy unless they've got a woman or children or something that they're not telling you about. So let's go on to the red flags. Love bombing. And love bombing is something that my ex done really well. When I look back, he love bombed the hell out of me, and I didn't see it then. Actually, I did see it, but I feel like where I was in my life, I feel like I wasn't in the best place, so I kind of allowed it. But you need to recognise love bombing, and it comes in so many different ways. My ex used to tell me that he loved me from weeks of knowing me. He used to give me money. It was just over. He used to overcompensate too early, and that should have been a sign for me, but life moves on. So inconsistency, that was another red flag. He was very inconsistent, and someone that disrespects your boundaries. You can set whatever boundary you want, and no one has the right to disrespect you for your boundaries. Your boundaries are your boundaries, and you set them for a reason. So if you do meet someone who disrespects your boundaries, then no, that's a no-no. High-value women don't accept boundary disrespect. And emotional manipulation, that's another one. Another massive red flag. And what I want you to remember is that being a high-value woman in dating isn't about being perfect, because none of us are perfect. We are perfectly imperfect. But it's more about knowing that your worth is non-negotiable, and understanding that the right person adds to your life, not completes it, and recognising that how you date reflects on how you value yourself. So we've come close to the end of this video, but we haven't ended yet. So before you go, what I want to do is set a challenge. This week, implement one of the habits that I've mentioned today, and notice how it not only affects your dating life, but notice how it makes you feel about yourself. And if you want any information or you want to dive deeper into anything that you've heard today, email me at naomi@thediaryofnaomi.co.uk, and we can book in a consultation or a session where we can go through some high value woman dating tips. And what we have to remember is that when we're striving to be a high value woman, we're not just looking for a partner. You're looking for somebody that aligns with the life, the magnificent life that you're creating. So what I want you to do is to drop a comment in the comments box below. Share this video, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and tell a friend to tell a friend, because sharing is caring. And don't forget that your presence is your power. Bye for now. Mwah.